Daniel proposed and she went ahead and accepted his hand, only to end up shattering a genuine lover's trust. She sold a ring that had belonged to her husband's family for 7 generations to pay for the lie that saved her brother's life. When her husband finally learned the truth, he forgave the lie itself, but he could not forgive that she had hidden it from him for 10 years. Adieze Obi grew up in Lagos, in a house that smelled of jollof rice and ambition. Her father was an accountant who believed in numbers with near religious conviction, precise, unforgiving, and always demanding more than you thought you had. Her mother died when Adieze was 19, and from that moment on, she became the one who held the family together, especially for her younger brother, Obinna, who was 12 and still needed someone to tell him everything would be fine, even when she wasn't sure it would. She moved to Toronto for university on a scholarship that felt like a small miracle. It was there, in a freezing February lecture hall, that she met Daniel Whitfield. Daniel came from a working-class family outside Manchester. He had grown up watching his father lay bricks for other people's dream houses and had sworn to design his own one day. He carried a sketchbook everywhere, had calloused hands, and spoke so quickly when excited that Adieze could barely keep up with his accent. He wasn't polished, and he didn't come from money or connections. What he had was an unwavering belief that he could build something meaningful, and a habit of looking at Adieze as though she were the most fascinating problem he had ever encountered. On paper, they made little sense together. A Nigerian woman raised on responsibility and an Englishman raised on hard floors and harder dreams. In person, they fit effortlessly. She gave him discipline. He gave her permission to want things for herself instead of living only for everyone who depended on her. 3 years later, Daniel proposed on a bridge in the freezing cold with a ring that had belonged to the Whitfield family for 7 generations. His father had entrusted it to him with one condition: it must be given only to the woman he intended to love for the rest of his life. Daniel was shaking so badly that he nearly dropped it twice before Adieze took his hands and said yes before he could try a 3rd time. That night, she told him she would spend her life making sure his name ended up on skyscrapers, not just sketchbook pages. Daniel told her she had already changed his life simply by staying. The early years of their marriage were lean and electric. Adieze worked as a financial analyst by day and kept the books for 2 small businesses at night. Daniel took every entry-level drafting job he could find while preparing for his architecture licensing exams. He failed twice and got back up both times, largely because she refused to let him give up. Their friends still talked about the way they argued about everything: football, curry versus jollof rice, whose relatives were more dramatic, and somehow made every disagreement look like another expression of affection. There was also Marcus Webb. Marcus was a family friend from Toronto's Nigerian diaspora community, a successful real estate developer who had helped Adieze find an affordable apartment during her first month in the city. He remained close to her over the years. Some people thought he remained a little too close for a man who had watched her marry someone else and never truly leave her orbit. Obinna's diagnosis came on an ordinary Tuesday, a call from Lagos that turned Adieze cold. Complications from sickle cell disease had progressed to the point where he needed specialized treatment, unavailable through Nigeria's public healthcare system. The care existed only in private clinics, with costs so overwhelming that her father fell silent on the phone in a way she had never heard before. Responsibility weighed heavily on her shoulders. She had to come through. Daniel was 18 months away from his final licensing attempt. He had just left his firm to start his own practice with 2 partners, pouring every dollar they had saved into a tiny office and software they could barely afford. Adaeze watched him wake at 5 every morning to sketch before work and fall asleep at his desk more nights than he made it to bed. She believed he had no room left to carry another burden without breaking under it. So she told him nothing. Instead, she went to Marcus. Marcus had access to lenders who operated in the gray areas of real estate financing. He helped her forge income documents that made her appear far wealthier than she was. He never asked for anything in return, but he made it clear that he would have given her the money outright if she had only asked. He hinted that Daniel did not fully understand what he had and suggested that he would have done things differently. Adaeze took the loan anyway. She structured the repayments carefully, paying everything back over the years through cash withdrawals Daniel believed were helping support her father's retirement in Lagos. She told the story so consistently that at times even she stopped questioning it. At her lowest point, with no loans left to pursue, she sold the Whitfield family ring, the ring that had passed through 7 generations of Daniel's family. She replaced it with a near-identical copy from a jeweler 3 suburbs away and promised herself she would restore what she had taken as soon as life became stable again. Obinna survived. He is now 34, married, and raising a daughter who calls Adaeze Auntie Sunshine. Adaeze never regretted saving her brother's life. What she regretted was everything the secret required afterward. The lie settled into their marriage and grew roots. It explained why she guarded certain financial matters so closely, why she insisted on handling specific bills herself, and why exhaustion seemed to follow her even when there was no visible reason for it. Daniel noticed the changes. He asked gentle questions and she answered them with practiced half-truths until he eventually stopped pressing. He convinced himself that she was simply private about money and respected boundaries he did not fully understand. Years later, that decision would become its own source of pain. 10 years into their marriage, Daniel's firm finally broke through. A mid-rise community housing project won a regional design award and placed his name in industry magazines for the first time. He should have been happier than he had ever been. Instead, Marcus Webb had returned to the center of their lives. For years, Marcus had remained close to Adaeze, convincing himself that loyalty entitled him to a place in her future. She had repaid every cent he helped her secure during Obinna's illness, but Marcus had come to believe that what existed between them deserved acknowledgement beyond gratitude. He began finding reasons to see her more often, lunches to catch up, property investments he insisted only she should hear about, remarks carefully designed to imply a deeper connection without saying anything explicit. "You know I would have given you that money without interest if you'd simply asked. Does Daniel know what you sacrificed for your family? Does he know what it cost you?" Adaeze shut down every attempt. She told Marcus plainly that she loved her husband, that she appreciated the help he had given her years earlier, and that gratitude was not the same thing as affection. Whatever he imagined between them did not exist. Marcus said he understood. He didn't. At the awards dinner celebrating Daniel's project, Marcus approached him at the bar and spoke with practiced casualness. He told Daniel that he and Adaeze shared a long history. He said he had helped carry the family through Obinna's illness and suggested that Daniel should ask his wife what she had hidden from him for 10 years. Then he mentioned the ring. Not a wedding ring, but the Whitfield family heirloom that had passed through 7 generations. He asked Daniel if he knew what had really happened to it. Marcus left out the forged documents. He left out the years of repayment. He left out his own feelings and the boundaries Adaeze had repeatedly enforced. What he offered Daniel was only enough truth to let suspicion complete the rest. Daniel did not confront Adaeze that night. He drove home in silence and sat alone in their kitchen until nearly 3 in the morning. When Adaeze found him, he looked exhausted in a way she had never seen before. He asked only one question. "Where is the ring, Ada? My family's ring." What happened to it? And she knew the secret she had carried for 10 years could no longer remain hers alone. She told him everything: Obina's diagnosis, the loan, the forged documents, the years spent repaying every cent, the family ring she had sold during the worst months of the crisis, and the replica she had worn ever since, hoping one day to replace what had been lost before Daniel ever discovered the truth. She told Daniel about Marcus, his help, the discomfort that came with it, and her repeated refusals to allow their relationship to become anything more than friendship. She told Daniel that Marcus's insinuations were false, that she had never betrayed her marriage, and that the only thing she had accepted from him was assistance she later repaid in full. Then she confessed the part she had never spoken aloud to anyone. 8 months into Obina's illness, she asked her father to sell her late mother's land to secure the necessary funds, but he refused. Instead, he told her that marrying a white Englishman with no money or family wealth had been a mistake. He said this was exactly the kind of hardship he had warned her about, and that she should have chosen someone who could provide for a family in crisis. He reminded her that caring for him was her responsibility. She was supposed to be supporting him, not begging for his help. Those words stayed with her. She hid the loan partly because she feared the financial burden would crush Daniel at the most fragile point of his career. But she also feared something deeper, that if he learned how close they had come to disaster, some part of him might believe her father had been right all along. So she carried the secret alone, trying to protect both her husband and the life they had built together, never realizing that the silence itself would become the greatest threat to their marriage.
Daniel did not yell. He did not throw anything. He sat with everything Adeza had told him for a long time, long enough that she began to fear the silence itself was his answer. "You should have told me," he finally said. "Not because I would have handled it perfectly. I probably would have panicked. I might have left the firm, taken a safer job, and given up the dream I've had since I was a boy working beside my father." He looked at her. "But you decided by yourself what kind of man I was strong enough to be. You carried that decision for 10 years, and somewhere in it, you believed that if I failed, your father would have been right about me. You never gave me the chance to prove otherwise." Adeza had no answer, because beneath the grief and exhaustion, she knew he was right. Daniel moved out for 4 months, not out of anger, but because he needed to understand whether trust could be rebuilt after so many years of silence. During that time, Marcus tried once more. Adeza ended it completely. She told him that whatever feelings he believed existed between them had never been real. His help during Obina's illness did not give him a claim on her life, her gratitude, or her marriage. She asked him never to contact her again. After that, Marcus disappeared from both of their lives. Daniel eventually came home, not because the pain had vanished, but because he chose to rebuild what had been broken. They began therapy, both separately and together, and for the first time in 10 years, they spoke openly about fears, expectations, and the burdens they had each carried alone. Adeza finally told him everything her father had said during Obina's illness. Daniel listened. Then he told her that her father's disapproval explained far more than he had ever understood. He wished she had trusted him enough to share that weight, instead of carrying it by herself. The Whitfield family ring was gone forever. Generations of history had ended with a decision made in desperation. When Daniel offered her another ring, Adeza asked him to wait, not forever, only until wearing one felt honest again rather than symbolic. Their marriage did not heal in a single conversation. It healed slowly, through difficult truths, small acts of trust, and a deliberate choice to remain together even after discovering how much they had never said aloud.
Some wounds are not born from betrayal, but from love expressed in the wrong way. Ada Eze kept her secret because she believed she was protecting the people she loved.
Daniel grieved not only the loss of a ring that had belonged to his family for 7 generations, but the realization that his wife had carried her burdens alone because she did not trust him to bear them with her. Neither of them acted out of cruelty. Neither stopped loving the other. Yet love by itself could not spare them from the cost of silence. Their healing began only when they abandoned the roles they had assigned themselves, protector, provider, burden bearer, and allowed honesty to do what sacrifice alone never could, make the marriage something shared again. So here are the questions this story leaves behind. Was Adaeze protecting Daniel, or was she really protecting herself from her father's judgment, using Daniel's fragility as the excuse? Would you have forgiven her if you were Daniel? And who do you think betrayed this marriage first? Adaeze for the secret she kept for 10 years, or her father for planting the fear that made silence feel safer than honesty?